My name is Antoinette Radcliffe. I am the outside organizing manager with Initiate Justice, and I'm super excited to be here. And my co-host, generally and usually for the member meeting, is Daisy. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. I was just commenting in the chat that it's really cool to see folks tuning in with their gear. For folks who are new, we have outside organizers and members who are rocking their Initiate Justice t-shirts from the comfort of their home. So it's always nice to see folks wearing that gear to be with us as present as much as possible. But my name is Daisy. I serve as Initiate Justice's statewide advocacy manager, and super thrilled to be with you all tonight and bringing in the blessings of a new month, the blessings of a new season. It is fall. A lot of people are excited for the leaves to turn orange, yellow for the holidays, for time to be spent with friends, as you know, and loved ones as we continue to approach and work through the next couple of weeks. And of course, building on the work that we are doing, and thrilled to share tonight's event with you. We have some exciting news to share as the evening will progress. But I just wanted to say hi before we continue on with the program.
Thank you, Daisy. And yes, thank you everyone in the chat joining us from San Diego, from Coachella near me, San Jose, Davis, West Hollywood, also from Palmdale, and just everyone. I see people are joining us from LA as well. So thank you. We also had another question come through the chat, which is, how did you hear of IJ? If you are joining us for the first time, and if you're new here, how did you hear about us? What brought you here tonight? We're curious to know. So please continue to share those responses in the chat. We love to see it. And then Daisy and myself, we actually go back and comb through and read through the chat after. For those who are curious, it doesn't get missed. So just wanted to point that out. But our agenda for tonight, we'll have just some welcome and member recognition. So recognizing our new members and a grounding by our healing team. That's how we will start tonight. Then we will have some general organizational updates and committee updates. This is where you'll hear from all of our committees and what's going on here at IJ. After that, we have our special guest, Assemblymember Bryan, joining us for a Q&A, and that's our main event for tonight. So at 7:15, Assemblymember Bryan around 7:15 will be here, and we will have a very engaging Q&A segment. Once that wraps up, that'll be for about an hour. We'll announce our member of the month, follow up with some closing remarks. And then for those of you who are new, please stay on after we close out our member of the month, because we have a new member orientation that we provide to those of you who are new to give you a little bit more in-depth understanding of what we do at Initiate Justice, how we were established, and most importantly, how you can be involved. So we'll detail the committees and the different actions that are available to you for being involved with our organization, and also how you can be recognized as an official member. So super excited for our entire program tonight. And I'm gonna actually go ahead and get us started in the interest of time. For those who are just now joining in the chat, people are sharing where they're joining us in from, if it's their first meeting, and also if it is your first meeting, how you heard of us, what brought you here tonight. So continue plugging that into the chat. Meanwhile, I'm going to pass it over to our healing facilitators so we can get grounded for a moment before we begin. So I have actually a new facilitator doing our grounding tonight, who I think it will be her first time doing one with us here at our member meeting, is going to be Oka.
Yes, snap it up for Oka, like Oka, your little cousin. Give some love to Oka. I wanted to actually just say, what's up, y'all? And I wanted to give some love to you, Oka, within our community, because you bring so much healing to us. Oka was really instrumental in the healing event that we were able to have at Point Furman Park. And it was just an amazing time for us to be able to breathe and connect with our bodies and be in the sun. And your leadership has been so important in that moment. And so in this Libra new moon energy, I just want to say thank you so much, everyone, for being here and being a part of this community where we get to uplift each other and plant new seeds every cycle. So thank y'all, and thank you, Oka.
Thank you. Thank you, Indigo. Your energy is so vibrant. And thank you, Antoinette and Daisy, for all you do to make sure this happens. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to be here, and I'm honestly honored to be guiding you in a meditation on the beautiful Libra new moon. This new moon feminine energy is truly about sending patience and love and compassion to those around us, and especially yourself. So I invite you to close your eyes. Feel free to turn off your camera if you'd like. Whatever feels calling to you. You can sit up, or you can even lay down if you'd like. I invite you to close your eyes and begin to ground your sit bone down into the earth. And allow your body to feel supported. Notice your breath without judgment. How are you feeling? What is your mood like? Notice the body sensations. Begin to soften your jaw. Drop or lower your shoulders. Take a deep breath in your nose, filling up your lower belly. Slowly release that air out. Begin to breathe in and out of your nose. Feel the cool air coming in and the warm air leaving your nose. Bring your awareness to your heart. Place your right hand over your heart. Place your left hand over your right. And feel your heart beating. Feel the power inside of your heart. Send gratitude to your heart for beating all of these years, through the ups and the downs. Send love to yourself. Good. Slowly relax your hands and soften in the middle of your mind. And drop your mind down into your heart. And let your heart be the therapist of this mind, of the thoughts. Go ahead and set your intention here. What are you calling in? What seeds are you planting? What do you want more of? There are no limitations. There's abundance. Good. Let's take 3 deep collective breaths here in your nose, filling up your lower belly and your heart with this nourishing, loving, compassionate oxygen, healing every single cell inside of our body. Slowly exhale and share it with the world. Beautiful. Another deep, loving, compassionate inhale. Filling up your lower belly, expanding into the world, letting it out. One more deep, loving, compassionate inhale. And let it out. In your mind's eye, say, I love you, and then your name. Beautiful. Wiggle your fingers, slowly open your eyes, and begin to see all of the colors that your eyes get to see. Notice all the sounds your ears get to hear, the body sensations our body gets to feel, and even any taste buds our tongue gets to taste. Thank you. Be extra, extra gentle with yourself and continue to fill up your cup. I love you all, and the light is truly inside of you.
Thank you so much, Oka, for that and for grounding us. Oka is part of our healing committee, and you'll be hearing a little bit more about our healing committee, what they've been up to, what they do, and how you can get involved later on in tonight's program. We have several committees that that folks are able to join, and our healing committee is one of them. And this month they hosted a day of healing, and so you would be able to participate in activities like this where they'd be able to give you the tools they need to make sure that you can stay grounded and have what you need to help you with your journey as we continue to move forward. But appreciate you, Oka, for that wonderful grounding session and for all the light that you bring into our lives. And so with that, I want to welcome everybody to our October member meeting. I saw in the comments in the chat, some folks, it's their first time. Others are returning members, and others are joining us after a brief hiatus. So we're glad that you're able to join us in whatever capacity you're able to tonight. My name is Daisy. I serve as Initiate Justice's statewide advocacy manager, and I'll be co-hosting tonight's meeting along with my colleague Antoinette Radcliffe, who you heard at the beginning of the meeting, and you'll be hearing from as well as we continue tonight's program. But just wanted to kick off the meeting by welcoming everybody into our space. We have, as I said earlier, exciting agenda planned for you all. We have amazing news to share. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm just so excited and really want to bring in with you all the energy of what we are all celebrating in tonight's meeting. And wanted to recognize we also have brand new outside members. And for folks who are brand new at Initiate Justice, we have a membership structure where folks who are outside of prison walls and want to be involved with the work that we do can have the opportunity to become outside members. And in order to do that, to become an outside member, you'd have to attend at least 3 consecutive member meetings like these within a 4-month period, and also be active in at least one of our various committees. As I mentioned, you'll hear from them a little later on as far as what they are up to, what they do, and how you can get involved. But when we have new members, we initiate them into our outside membership structure, announce them, and send them a welcome package, which contains goodies such as Initiate Justice gear, stickers, shirts. Some of our members tonight, if they have their videos on, you are able to see that they are wearing their IJ t-shirts. And so we always love to see folks rocking their IJ gear. I saw folks turning on their camera to show off their t-shirts tonight, so thank you for that. But tonight, I have the pleasure of announcing 2 new outside members we've seen involved in various of our committees. So please join me in welcoming Anna A. and Rachel C. as our new outside members. Thank you so much for the work that you've been contributing, the discussion points, any brainstorming that you're participating in. We noticed that, and we wouldn't be here without you, so really appreciate that. And yes, please, in the chat, throw in your welcomes. Like I said, Antoinette and I do go back and read the chat. So if at any point during the evening, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If we don't get to you tonight, we will get back to you via email as we do review the chat to make sure that your questions are answered. But otherwise, I just wanted to say a big welcome to everybody. And I'm actually going to pass it off to my colleague Antoinette, who's going to start off the meeting by giving us some organizational updates here at Initiate Justice. And again, a big warm welcome to everybody and happy October.
Thank you so much, Daisy. Yes, we greatly appreciate our new members. It's that dedication, attending our monthly meetings consistently, and joining our committees, which do this work, which make this work possible. So again, welcome Anna, welcome Rachel. We appreciate your efforts. So organizational updates. At Initiate Justice, we have a few things going on. So first and foremost, Initiate Justice, if you weren't here at our September member meeting, we turned 5 in September. So IJ turned 5 and we launched a fundraiser, 5K for our 5th birthday. And we are almost halfway to our goal. So far we have raised $2,350 for our 5th birthday. So thank you so much to everyone who supported, everyone who gave anywhere from $1 to $50 to more. We appreciate it. If you can spare even just $5 to support and just wish us a happy birthday and allow us to continue to do the work that we do, I shared the link in the chat. It's givebutter.com/IJ turns5. And I see all of the happy birthdays coming through the chat. So thank you. And also thank you to those who celebrated with us at our virtual 5th birthday party celebration. We appreciate each and every one of you who continue to commit your time, your effort, and your energy to Initiate Justice, because that's the only way this work gets accomplished. That's the only way we are able to continue to do this work, is with the support of each and every one of you, whether that be your time, your energy, just spreading the word, a share on Instagram, a share on Facebook, or even a share on TikTok. So Initiate Justice is now on TikTok. We've been on Instagram, we've been on Facebook, Twitter, but we are now officially on TikTok as well. Some of you may have seen, may have not seen, but our staff have launched a TikTok and it's good. I've enjoyed it. I actually created a TikTok just for Initiate Justice to be able to watch our TikTok. So I highly recommend, if you don't have one, create one and follow us and engage with us on TikTok. It's at Initiate Justice. Like all of our other handles, that's just at Initiate Justice, and you can catch what our latest posts have been. So definitely please comment, like, share, all of that. And thank you for those who have already been uplifting our TikTok posts, commenting, sharing, and enjoying those interesting discussions happening on our TikTok. Okay, and another announcement, or I guess you could say a couple of announcements that I would like to make is our Institute of Impacted Leaders. So some of you hear about our Institute of Impacted Leaders, may have heard about it on our Instagram, or you may have heard about it maybe at one of our member meetings. But what it is it's a 12-week advocacy and community organizing training where we teach people who are directly impacted by incarceration. We teach the essentials of community organizing, so why it's important and how to do it. We teach thoroughly how the policy process is in California, meaning how does a bill go from an idea to a law? And then how can we as individuals uplift our experiences, the experiences of our loved ones in that process, and be civically engaged in the process of the policies that do get passed and that do govern us. More to hear about those policies and how we advocate later on from our policy team, but that's the gist of our Institute of Impacted Leaders program. It's designed by directly impacted people, specifically for directly impacted people. And so what happens after you complete the program, you graduate and become an outside organizer. And so this year we launched, executed, and are graduating officially at the end of this month, 8 total cohorts. So our 4 summer cohorts of the Institute of Impacted Leaders is graduating. They're all graduating this month, and we have 4 graduations taking place. And definitely we want to extend the invite to those of you who support the work that we do, maybe want to hear a little bit more from our outside organizers, what it's like to go through the program, especially if you're interested in joining an Institute of Impacted Leaders cohort and completing the program. So we want to invite you all to our graduations. So we are having 4 cohorts that we're graduating again this summer. Santa Barbara on Tuesday, October 19th. And you can join these either in person or virtually. So again, Santa Barbara's is Tuesday, October 19th at Chase Palm Park Beach House in Santa Barbara. We have our Bakersfield graduation happening Friday, October 22nd. And that's happening at the Noriega House in the city of Bakersfield. And then we have our San Diego graduation happening Thursday, October 28th at the Mission Beach Women's Club in San Diego. So if you are interested, those are the locations. Those 3 are happening from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on their respective dates. And then we have San Jose happening on Saturday, October 30th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at San Jose Women's Club. So we will make sure that these dates are available to you all and you can join us. Like I said, there are Zoom links as well as in person. So we'll make sure that all of this is available to those of you who wish to join. And Daisy is putting the information in the chat as we speak. So thank you so much, Daisy, for your consistent assistance in the chat. 2 more announcements, technically. One more thing that we want to uplift happening here at IJID, super exciting. Earlier this year, we launched an abolition podcast. So it's called Abolition is for Everybody, where our hosts, along with guest co-hosts, explore some of the more difficult conversations around abolition, but also the very foundational concepts and conversations around abolition, using their own experiences, their lived experiences, and again, along with guest experts in various topics. And so if you are interested in listening to our podcast, know that, or if you have been listening to our podcast, know that our season 1 final episode is launching this Friday. So if you haven't already been listening, you'll want to get caught up. And if you are already listening, you don't want to miss our final season 1 episode. And throughout all of these episodes, we cover different topics. We've covered community connection, gender equity, decriminalizing drugs. We also have like our first episode with Patrice Cullors, which is Abolition 101. So we really encourage you to listen. Even if you are not familiar with abolition and you're interested in just hearing why our community is so abolition focused and why we are abolition centered, this is a great opportunity to find out why and hear from those who have been practicing abolition and advocating for abolition for a very long time for many of our guests. And so we highly encourage you to listen. Also, at the link that I shared, you can provide us with feedback. So we love at Initiate Justice, we love feedback. We incorporate it into our membership structure, into the changes we make in the Institute of Impacted Leaders. And that is the same thing that we will continue to do with our podcast. We will continue to acknowledge and incorporate your feedback. So we highly encourage, if you're listening, provide us with feedback. We love to hear it. Constructive feedback, positive, whatever it is, thoughts, share it with us. And we definitely love to read through the feedback that you all provide us with. But again, Friday, October 8th, don't miss our final episode of Abolition is for everybody. So again, a lot going on at IJ, super excited. Even though, we're nearing our fall season, things are not calming down here. We have a lot going on. We're continuing to advocate and uplift the voices of all of our impacted community. So thank you for listening to my updates. But real quick, what I want to do is I want everyone to pay attention, hear me out, and get excited because we have a birthday this month. So I want to wish a very, very happy birthday to one of our staff members many of you know him, very instrumental in the work that we do, runs our inside organizing program, and always comes with tons of energy. So I know that this happy birthday is probably not even near the amount of energy that he provides and he brings to our meetings, but happy birthday to Lee. If you are here, which I know you are because you have the Abolitionist for Everybody background, and I'm going to spotlight you for everybody. So for those who don't know, I'm going to put him on the spot. Lee, happy birthday. And we're not going to butcher the happy birthday song like our staff does, because I can't imagine singing happy birthday with 84 people on Zoom. One day we've got to try it. Today's not the day. I'm not gonna be the one who tried to call a happy birthday song out on Zoom. But I definitely want to wish you a huge happy birthday. And I want you to see already the chat is lit as you always are, with the energy, telling you happy birthday. So just again, Lee, we appreciate you and everything that you do. So please have the happiest birthday and enjoy. You deserve whatever break, whatever you're doing, to fill that day with nothing but joy, laughter, and love. We appreciate you, Lee.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Lee.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. So now that's a good happy birthday song. We definitely couldn't have done that. Thank you so much. And happy birthday once again, Lee. Let me not have you spotlighted the entire time. Sorry about that. I'll remove your spotlight. But so those are our organizational updates. That's what's happening here at Initiate Justice for the month of October. But we also have our committees. And so I definitely want to transition us into our committee updates. where you can hear from each of our 5 committees, what's going on, ways that you can be plugged, how you can be engaged, and really just like what their updates are, what they've accomplished. So we are going to start off with what's going to be a very exciting update, but our advocacy committee with Greg and Sarah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Greg, and with my colleague Sarah, we run Initiate Justice's Policy and Advocacy Committee. The very exciting update to share with you all is that our bill that everyone was supporting and following this year, AB 292, with Asemblymember Mark Stone, was officially signed today. So today around 4 o'clock, the governor made the announcement. He signed our bill. So I just want everyone to, we're just given the same joy that we have for Lee and everything. I think folks should feel here as well, and just know that this is a really special moment, and it's just a big victory for us. And I think it's something we should all feel as a collective victory, just knowing that everybody who engages with us, who's on social media, who's coming to the lobby visits, who's spreading the word, it's it's a community victory in every sense of the word. And I just want to thank everyone for the support this year, and everything that y'all have been doing to support the bill and to be helping us. And just knowing that, everybody falls in love with the bills, and we just put our heart and souls into them. And so when it gets to this point, it is just a really special moment. And there's just a lot that we want to be able to do for our folks inside. And we obviously want to change a lot, and it's just, a lot that we want to do. And so it's just really, really special. And I'm not going to ugly cry for you all tonight, but I've been feeling some stuff today, and just want to give, again, a big shout out to everybody who supported, and especially Assemblymember Mark Stone. There are very few elected officials who care about these issues in the way that he does. And just for us to know that we have a champion like him, and he supports us every step of the way, and he's going to be with us, and to have someone like that is amazing. So I just feel a lot of joy and a lot of gratitude for everyone. And we'll turn my camera off and do my ugly crying away from you all. But there's a lot to talk about with this bill, what it does do, what it doesn't do. So please come to our advocacy committee meetings. So we do 3 meetings each month. We have policy office hours, a general committee meeting, and an abolition corner. But the policy office hours are upcoming next Tuesday, and it'll be a chance for us to really dig into it. I'll tell you all the behind the scenes stories, everything Sarah did. Sarah did some really, really amazing work on this bill, and it would not be where it is today without her. So I just want to give a huge shout out to Sarah. And yes, come to the meeting so we can all ugly cry together. But this has been emotional for me. So lots of joy and gratitude. And I don't want to keep going on and on, but this is a bill that we tried to run last year, and it was dropped because of the pandemic. And so for us to be able to bring it back this year, and just every step of the way, man, doing our best and just bringing everything along, it's just a really special feeling, man. And obviously our folks inside get such a raw deal. And so anything we can do to be able to help out is, again, just really special. It's why we do this work. And the wins like this, I think, should really, really be celebrated, because they're not guaranteed. And obviously, we didn't pass all of our bills this year. This is the only one we got to this point, but I think we should savor it even more and just know how special it is. And I want to pass it to my colleague to share, colleague Sarah, to talk about our upcoming events. And thank you, everyone, and I appreciate all the support.
Thanks, Greg. And I think I can say on behalf of everyone, thank you so much for all of the work that you've put into this bill. And yeah, everyone, please come ugly cry with us at his office hours next week, because we totally all deserve it. each one and every one of you who made a call, who talked to a friend about this. You really did make a difference. We talk about it being drops in the bucket, and this is one of the buckets that we got to fill up and spill over. So yeah, it is emotional, and that's okay, because that's why we're in this fight, right? That's why we're making a difference. So yeah, I just wanted to say you're welcome to come share whatever feelings you may be having or anything with us at Policy Office Hours. But just to reiterate what Greg said, the advocacy committee focuses on passing our policy goals. We have 3 events each month. The first event is on the second Tuesday of every month, and it's Policy Office Hours with Greg. This is a chance to talk about anything and everything policy, anything that's on your mind. And then we also have our general advocacy committee, which is the third Tuesday of every month. And that is really our major updates and general things that are happening policy wise. And then the fourth Tuesday, I host Abolition Corner. And this is a space for, even though IJ and the advocacy committee is focused on our policy goals, that also takes changing hearts and minds. And that starts with our own hearts and minds. So it's based off of themes from the podcast that Antoinette was talking about, Abolition is for Everybody, but there's no requirement that you listen to it or anything. And I really just want to make it clear that all of you are welcome. This is emotional work, but we're in it for the long term. And so growing is hard, but the more that we can share in those growing pains together a little bit, the more and more easy that it gets. So I think that's all of policy committees or advocacy committees updates. And again, thank you all so much for everything you've contributed to 292. This is why IJ's here. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, Greg and Sarah. And so I did plug the dates, times, and RSVP links in the chat, but no worries if you miss it. We do have a calendar of events that has clickable links so you can RSVP for these events, all of these events actually. So I'm going to pass it to our Inside Membership Committee now with Crystal and Ephraim.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. So sorry, when Greg got emotional, I immediately started getting emotional. So that like threw me off a little bit. So I apologize if I stumble. But we currently have 46,732 inside members. That is 46,732 people who will be receiving our magazine next week and getting the happy news of AB 292 and updates on other policy and what IJ has been up to out here. So thank you to all of the data entry volunteers who have been entering data on their own time. I see a couple of you here, Mateo, MJ, Myra, Marissa, Amy, and I especially, I want to take this moment to thank and highlight Diana, Jules, Sophia, Crispy, Jessica, and Nick, who have each entered over 1,000 names, and actually most of them are close to entering 2,000 names themselves. So really, really appreciate all of the work that you are doing on your evenings and weekends, making sure that our inside members are up to date with everything that's going on. One thing that Greg didn't mention is that for AB 292, our inside members submitted or, returned to us over 1,000 letters of support that were sent out to, our assembly members, senators, and to the governor's office. So we were very, very proud of that and happy with that. And, looking at that 46,000 number that is always growing, I have been thinking a lot about the Inside Membership Committee, our 46,000 inside members and all of our incarcerated loved ones. So I am going to take this month to really, really think about the Inside Membership Committee. I have a lot of, plans and events for us for the Inside Membership Committee. So we will not have a meeting in the month of October. Our next meeting is Wednesday, November 10th at 5:30. I have very exciting announcements and things for you all to get involved with, so I invite you all to attend. In the meantime, feel free to email myself, crystal@initiatejustice.org, or my colleague Efrain, Efrain@initiatejustice.org, if you have any questions regarding data entry, mail, the committee, or our magazine that goes into our inside members. And again, thank you all for the support, and I hope to see you all soon. I'll pass it back to you, Antoinette.
Thank you, Crystal. So yes, we will make sure you have that on the next calendar of events for the Inside Membership meeting on November 10th. Next, we have our Inside Organizing Committee with Lee and Adam.
What is up, my social justice champions? We did it again. 292 passed, been signed into law, and it is all because of you all. I would also like to welcome my co-worker, Adam Kane, who is the Inside Programming Associate, and I want to talk a little bit about what my committee does, what our committee does, and what we're up to. Currently, we have 194 inside organizers. Those 194 inside organizers are our peers, our loved ones, our family members inside who have taken up a leadership role, who want to get more involved in this movement, and they are the ones that are hustling up these letters. They're the ones that are informing their peers about these bills. They're the ones that have gone through a curriculum training in order to understand the legislative process, learn things about intersectionality, learn things about better, how to be better organizers inside. And with that said, we also have on the web tonight, we have folks that are reviewers, curriculum reviewers. We have folks that are phone trainers that help and assist the folks that are inside to become better inside organizers. So that's what our call out is of all time, is always inviting folks to come in, help us and assist us in training the folks inside to become better inside organizers. So not only can they affect change inside, but when they return out here, like Adam and Efren and me and Jay and other folks that have returned out here to get involved in our community and to be able to make the difference that is necessary, and from the voices from the folks that are directly impacted and system impacted from inside. Also, we do a newsletter and a newspaper that gets issued inside every month. So folks that want to be able to share about their personal inside or outside organizing and the work that they do out here, they can always submit to Michelle at initiatejustice.org and submit any types of writings or share any type of organizing that you've been a part of and that you've been doing. And we're currently working on putting workshops inside. We were able to do a couple, but we want to be able to expand to all of the facilities inside. So please come join the Inside Organizing Committee. We meet this Thursday, October 7th, 5:30. I probably won't be there. Adam will be leading it because Taina, Michelle, and myself are going into High Desert State Prison to be able to share with them a little bit about the legislative process, share the good news about 292, and do some advocating and organizing with the folks inside. So please, any questions about joining the IO committee, reach out to me at lee@initiatejustice.org or Adam at initiatejustice.org. And thank you so much for being here. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the birthday wishes that you all shared with me. I really appreciate it. Super grateful, super humble to be out here and to be able to share this space with you all.
Thank you so much, Lee, for your updates. And I am putting your email as well as Adam's email in the chat for people. Yes, I put that in there accurately. Sorry about that. So thank you. We now have our outside membership committee, which is actually co-led by myself and Daisy. So Daisy's going to give some updates on our outside membership committee.
Thanks, Antoinette. For folks who are new to the outside membership committee, Antoinette and I co-lead this committee, which really is focused on helping to build, develop, and really engage folks on the outside to be able to add more folks who can help us in the movement and the fight. As Greg mentioned earlier today in the meeting, we were able to pass AB 292 this year, But there's so many other bills that we want to work on, but we need help from folks to be able to sustain that momentum, to be able to reach legislators that we're trying to target. And you'll be hearing from our special guest in a little bit more about as far as how we really need the voices of folks who are impacted to help lead the work. But in order to do that on our end, what we try to do is do outreach and be able to engage folks in the community to have the members that we need to meet our legislative and campaign goals. And so the outside membership committee does just that. This month, we actually had our first tabling event in Los Angeles County at a resource fair that was in honor of National Voter Registration Day. For folks who are familiar, Initiate Justice was one of the lead organizations in helping pass Proposition 17, which restored the right to vote to so many folks who are on parole in California, including several of our own staff members who are also on parole. And so we were able to table at that event, talk about Initiate Justice and our programs, what we do, and invite folks to take part as far as what we're doing. And so at our last meeting, we also actually had conversations in terms of what we can also do to continue to outreach and plan to engage communities. And so we invite folks to join us at our monthly member meetings. The next one is taking place, our monthly committee meetings. And the next one is taking place on Wednesday, October 27th at 5:30. We host ours on the Wednesday, the week before the member meeting. So I'll drop the link in the chat where you can RSVP for that. And if there's any questions, you can always feel free to contact Antoinette and myself, and I'll put our emails in the chat as well. But just a super quick update for you all. And Antoinette, I'll pass it back over to you.
Thank you so much, Daisy. So yes, if you're interested in getting involved in outreach, doing some tabling with us, please join our next committee meeting. We also do have another tabling event coming up in November in Riverside County. So if you are interested, especially if you are in the Inland Empire in Riverside County, please connect with us because there are more opportunities coming up for you to be involved and conduct that outreach with us. So last but definitely not least, updates from our healing committee with Rashida and Indigo.
Yes, thank you. I am Rashida. I am one of the facilitators with the Healing Committee. Before I get into the updates, I just want to invite you all to take a collective deep breath with me. I know this is a lot of the information we just took in, so let's just take a breath together. All right. So for September, the Healing Committee was very honored to have a circle for our late Teddy, who was one of our members. Our circle was so powerful. One, that we were able to honor him, but two, we were also able to hold space for those who are grieving. And so again, a powerful experience that we had. Again, rest in peace to him. I just want to update you all that the circles are going well. So thank you for every person who has attended our circles. Our healing event was a success. I know you heard it multiple times on the call. We have food, yoga, kid-friendly activities. Just to share, I was able to bring my nieces, and for the first time, they didn't use their phone, TikToks. They were able to literally embrace the experience with the yoga and with the meditation. So it was super honor to have that space for the kiddos as we were able to be into community with each other. Let's see. We noticed there are a lot of people who want to provide their insight and knowledge for healing, and we honor that, we welcome it, but we also need more engagement. So that is an ask. If you have the expertise and the knowledge, please come to our healing committees. But if you know anyone who can benefit from the circles, please, please, please send our link, share our healing tools, like whatever you think is helpful, because we really want to prioritize our mental health in this work. We really want to prioritize our healing in this work, but then we also want to normalize it for our daily lives, like not just the work that we do to end mass incarceration, but also like have it be a norm for us in our everyday lives as parents, on our jobs, and things of that nature, because healing is important and we will need it to continue to live healthy and productive lives. Again, also a circle that we had for our impacted
loved ones, very powerful. We were not only able to acknowledge our loved ones who are incarcerated, but we were also able to pour into ourselves with a lot of self-awareness. So highly, highly encourage you to visit one of our circles. With that said, our men's healing circle for October, led by Manny and Graham, is October 11th. Our formerly incarcerated circle, led by Graham and Miss Betty, is October 18th. Our impacted loved one circle by Indigo and myself is October 20th. And then our committee meeting is October 25th. We did not have one for September because no one signed up, so we postponed it. So again, highly encourage you all, if it's something that you're called to do, please be with us in community on October 25th. And that's all the updates I have. Again, just prioritize our healing in our daily lives. And don't forget to deep breathe. Like, deep breathing really calms you, centers you, and bring you back. And do it intentionally. If you do nothing else throughout the day, just take the moment and ground yourself with some collective breaths. So thank you all. And I look forward to seeing you, meeting you, and then having our next healing event, because it was really special. So thank you again, and sending love.
Thank you, Rashida, for that update. And so those are all of the committee updates. I know that was a ton of information. For folks who are brand new, we are gonna go over a short orientation at the end of the meeting tonight, and we'll go over that as we approach the end of the meeting. But we do send out a sheet that goes over the committee, so that when you have it on a document, you can review that. But in the chat, we dropped the link where you can sign up for any of the committees if you're interested in them. And again, we'll share that link in an email afterwards. But for folks who are brand new, it's in the chat if you wanted to take a peek at that now. The last thing before we go on to the main portion of our program is I just wanted to mention for folks that we do have a calendar of events, and that's where we are having all of these events that we just mentioned highlighted on one document. If somebody from the team could please share the link in the chat so folks can access that. We do share this out in an email as well. But for all of the events that we mentioned in tonight's meeting that are happening in October, you will have access to this calendar where you can click on any of these and it will take you to the RSVP page, and you can do it through there. But thank you to our communications team for making this very spooky themed calendar for the month of October. With that being said, just wanted to give you all a peek of what that looks like if you're able to see my screen. But with that being said, that actually wraps up the update portion of our program. And we thank you all for your patience, but I'm actually really thrilled to move on to the next portion, which is our main feature of tonight, which is Assemblymember Isaac Bryan. So I wanted to do an introduction just for folks who are maybe brand new or not familiar with Assemblymember Bryan. So Assemblymember Isaac Bryan is a Democrat that represents the Los Angeles areas and Culver City areas, including the communities of Baldwin Hills, Cheviot Hills, Crenshaw, Century City, Ladera Heights, Mar Vista, Palms, Rancho Park, Westwood, and parts of South Central and Inglewood. Assemblymember Bryan was recently elected to the California State Assembly in May of this year. So he is a first-time state legislature that is currently making massive changes in our state. He is actually a community organizer, educator, and activist, and founded and directed the UCLA Black Policy Project, a think tank that's dedicated to advancing racial equity through rigorous policy analysis, and also served as the first director of public policy at the UCLA Ralph J. Bunchy Center, as well as the director of organizing for the nationally recognized $1 Million Hoods Project, which is a community-based participatory research project. Assemblymember Bryan received his master's in public policy from UCLA, so he's a proud Bruin, and his BA in social science and sociology. Political science and sociology from the University of Arizona. He and his partner and his Great Dane Darius live in Jefferson Park. And it is truly my honor to welcome Assemblymember Bryan to join us for tonight's portion of the program. And he will be in a moderated conversation with our Executive Director, Taina. So I'll turn it over to you, Taina.
Thank you, Daisy, for that introduction, and welcome Assemblymember Bryan. In case you didn't know, Daisy's the best person to read your bio. She does such a very thorough job and leaves nothing out. So welcome. Thank you so much for being here and joining us for our October member meeting. Just a little bit about us. Most of us here are directly impacted by incarceration. So folks here are formerly incarcerated, have incarcerated loved ones, but we're also joined by allies in this fight. And we're all excited to hear from you tonight. So before I move into the questions, I actually just want to give you a couple of minutes to introduce yourself and bless us with some opening remarks.
Well, yeah, first up, happy belated Lee. And thank you, Daisy. That was incredible. I have to tell my team to stop sending that long of a bio. But it's really, really good to be here with you all. I've been trying to make a membership meeting for a little while now. It's hard in the middle of session, especially down there at the end when you're trying to move bills. But now that we're on recess and we're just waiting for the governor to do his job, I can be here anytime you need me to. So it's good to be here with you all. Initiate Justice is personal to me. This work, this abolitionist work, this decarceration work is very real. I'll tell you a bit more about my connection to that, I think, in some of the questions. But I have loved ones who are incarcerated for sure. And it's kind of driven my perspective on policy and honestly why I ran for office. So thank you for letting me share this space with you all. And I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Thank you. And that's actually a perfect segue because the first question that I have for you is, what did inspire you to run for office?
So I was adopted as a kid. Well, all right, back it up. My mom was a teenager when she got pregnant with me. She was a survivor. She was attacked and she couldn't keep me. She gave me up at birth. I ended up being adopted by a family that did foster care for 26 years. They adopted 9 of us out the system. But stayed foster parents. They fostered hundreds of kids in 4 different states. We moved a lot. So my family is 15 of us. We're big. 15 of us with my last name. Met my biological mother later in life, and I have some siblings over there too. But as I was growing up, I realized those of us that have been touched by the system at all, the child welfare system, our school outcomes were different, right? I failed out of middle school. I went to 3 high schools. I went to 2 community colleges. Some of us became unhoused in our teenage years. Some of us became incarcerated in our teenage years. And by the time I made it to UCLA for my master's in public policy, I realized I was the only one of my adopted brothers and sisters who had made it to college at all. You were more likely to be unhoused or incarcerated in my family than to have made it to like UCLA. And so that inspired my interest in like policy analysis and doing organizing work. And so I worked for elected officials. I worked for the mayor. I worked for an assembly member, and I got really frustrated. I didn't think they were really pushing hard enough. So then I left inside and went back outside, started organizing, built up the $1 Million Hoods Project with Kelly Lada Hernandez. I sat on the e-board of the Justice LA Coalition, really just started to get involved as deep as I could. We passed Measure J. We canceled the contract to build new jails in solidarity with so many of you. And over time, I just realized that it didn't matter where I was. I ended up lobbying or advocating for elected officials to do the right thing. And after Measure J in particular, like the next day I got a phone call from San Diego. My little brother had been picked up for allegedly stealing a bicycle from a senior center. He had been unhoused, was suffering from substance abuse. And the DA hit him with a felony strike home invasion. And it just occurred to me that Gascon wouldn't have done that in that case. At least I believe he wouldn't, based on the way he's operating and the promises he made during his campaign. And so knowing that my little brother wouldn't have the same outcomes in LA County as he's having in San Diego County just reminded me that we need good work statewide. It's not enough to just do this work in LA. We've got to take the policy to another level. There was an opening in my district to run, and so I stepped up. I wasn't tapped. People think that elected officials got to come and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, it's your turn. That happens a lot. But in my case, that was not the case. It was kind of like, I'm going and I dare y'all to stop me.
No, thank you so much for sharing that. And I was just keeping an eye on the chat. That story is like very inspirational and very similar to like so many of us who are here. So thank you very much for your vulnerability and really just like, you know, encouraging folks and showing us what is possible. So, you know, I know you hit the ground running. So could you talk to us a little bit about like what your experience has been like in the first year of your first term so far?
Yeah, so I got in at a really special time. I told everybody all campaign, hey, we got to do this on the first shot. We can't go to a runoff, because if it goes to a runoff, we're going to miss the budget. We're going to miss House of Origin. You know, we're going to show up in time to just be there, but not to have an impact. And the community rallied behind me and put me in right away. So no runoff. I got in there during what's called House of Origin, which means every bill that originates in the Assembly has to get out of the Assembly and over to the Senate that week. So I got put in on that week, which means I voted on 300 bills in my first 5 days with no team. I was reading a stack of papers this big every single night, making sure I knew, you know, what was on the table. And there are some bills, especially, you know, in Sacramento, we call it the criminal justice space, but I'm thinking from an abolitionist lens. There are some bills that decarcerate or shrink the size of the system that were 1 vote short before I got there. And so there were some members that were holding those bills, waiting for me to come through and be the final vote to send it over to the Senate. One of them was AB 333, which is a bill that would make it significantly more difficult for a district attorney to hit you with a gang enhancement, to label you a gang member just because of how you look or where you dress or where you're from or your past history. And so that was when I wanted to come in and make a mark on. I introduced a housing bill in my first 6 days, which I think is a record, but I don't really care. I didn't have a choice. It was either do it right now or don't do it at all this year. So I got a housing bill in, AB 1043. I'm grateful the governor signed it last year. What it'll do is it'll cap rents for people who make between 0 and 15% of an area's median income. In LA County, that's $17,000 a year. People who make $17,000 a year now with this bill won't have to pay more than 30% of their income towards their rent if they live in an affordable unit that they use state money. So if you want my money to build it, you better cap the rents at the state level. But I learned a lot coming in when I did. I learned that there's the politics in the movement. There's good policy and the things you believe in, and then there's the politics of the building. And I'll give y'all an example. There's kind of a rule in Sacramento that if you're a Democrat, you vote yes on the budget, period. That's what you do, because we have to pass a budget. And if it breaks down and we get stalled like they do in Washington, D.C. over the budget, it could have disastrous repercussions for people's lives. And it's just kind of ridiculous when you have a super majority that's one party. So that's the rule. Okay, everybody votes yes on the budget. I said, no problem, I can do that. The big budget comes through, $250 billion. We got money for universal transition kindergarten for kids, free school lunches for kids. We got $12 billion for our unhoused brothers and neighbors. We've got expanded Medicare for undocumented folks who are 65 and older, all amazing things. And then after the big budget, there was called trailer bills, which is just a little bit of the budget that wasn't finished for the big one. And one of those trailer bills was pay raises for CDCR. And it was in a bill by itself. There was nothing else in it. And that amount of money was $500 million a year. And the rule is you go up on the budget, or else you get, you get repercussions. You might lose your office, lose your committee assignments. So if you're the new guy, which I was, you really don't want to go against the grain right away. But I did. And I told the speaker, I can't vote yes on this. I don't know if you read my bio, I don't know if you checked my background, but I can't vote yes on this. Coincidentally, the day before the vote, my little brother was sentenced. He's in Kern right now. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it. I ended up being the only member of the entire state assembly who didn't vote yes for that $500 million a year pay increase. And so that just tells us how much more work we've got to do, right? How many things we're going to have to move to really change this system, to divest and invest in the things that we know help people rebuild their lives and spur opportunity. But those are some of the lessons I learned pretty quickly jumping in, and I'm grateful to the community behind me because it allows me to be brave like that, right? When you got there on people power, you're not beholden to the politics of the building. You do what you know is right, and then you just keep it pushing.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you for being courageous. You know, I know that that is a huge risk. We've watched it. Assemblymember Alex Lee, who is an author of another one of our bills, who is, like really a progressive champion, is also facing a lot of backlash right now. So we're grateful to you. We're grateful to other like progressive allies in the space. So thank you. And yeah, thanks for talking to us about AB 1043 and 333. But I'm wondering, I don't know. I guess like in the same like line of thinking, you talked about how important it is to have communities behind you. Can you talk a little bit about like why you think it's important for directly impacted people to be in these types of positions of power? Not only like I think as elected officials, but also, like holding collective and community power.
Yeah, no, we need our people in the streets. We need our people in the universities, our underground scholars, Project Rebound. We need our folks in service providing organizations, making sure that people who have lived through it are helping administer the resources. And we need people in elected office in all positions of power. There can't be anything about us without us. And for a long time, people who have been touched by the criminal legal system or have been excluded from society in any fashion have been unable to have a voice at the decision-making table. And because of that, the conditions that led to the criminal legal system and the conditions that led to houselessness or abject poverty or just struggle have gotten worse in our communities. And so it's really important to find your voice in whatever space feels authentic to you, that empowers you, and use that voice to empower others and push for the changes that matter. The thing I love about my colleague, Alex Lee, he definitely made a few more people upset than I did. But part of that's because I got to see the way he navigated, and he shared that information to help me navigate in a more intentional way. He took those hits for me so that I could help, push some of our priorities through. And congratulations on moving the bill with Mark Stone. Mark Stone is my seatmate. And so we talked quite a bit about which policies are important. There were some other bills, though, that Initiate Justice was involved in that made it pretty damn far, right? Hueso's bill, he had me floor jockey. He asked if I would carry the bill because if you were incarcerated, you now have access to Pell Grants. But we know there's predatory for-profit colleges that come through and they swipe your Pell Grant, like they have done with veterans. DeVry, Lil Romeo and Everest College, right? A whole bunch of folks who aren't providing that quality education, but taking the money that you deserve for your education. So with that bill, it forces CDCR to only contract with accredited public universities so that even our incarcerated brothers and sisters know that the quality of their education is the same quality as anybody else's. So that's a bill that's on the governor's desk as well. So kudos to Initiate Justice and all of you for pushing that through. We got the decertification bill through this year. The process got watered down a little bit. The commission isn't as strong as it should be, but it's a foundation to build on. And it wouldn't have moved last year. It didn't move last year. We also had Ben Allen. There were some sentencing enhancements that were removed back in 2017, but we didn't make them retroactive. So you got folks who are incarcerated right now for enhancements that are now illegal. And so we had to make them retroactive. And so we've done that. Nancy Skinner did that as well this year. So there was some hope this year. Not nearly enough. We've got to do so much more. But there was some hope this year, and none of that happens without you, without people who have been directly impacted, without people who have lived experience, without people who do this work for things bigger than themselves, for people bigger than themselves. And I'm really grateful to share space with all of you because I miss being kind of a tried and true organizer. It's different when you're in office. I'm still an organizer at heart, but now I'm organizing my colleagues on the assembly floor. And it's not nearly as much fun as kicking it with y'all.
Thank you for that. And first, say hi to Mark for me. I used to be his field representative. Tell him I said hello. You have a great seatmate. But kind of in line with what you were saying, you know, we are making progress and that's really exciting. However, sometimes we do pass bills that are not retroactive, or, you know, bills get amended, watered down, and you know, it can be like very disheartening. Sometimes, you know, it feels like we take a step forward and then we take a step back. So what advice do you have to keep, you know, folks motivated when these tasks like feel so daunting, and, you know, sometimes we don't get all of the things that we want?
Always stay true to your values and hold the line where you know it should be. If it gets compromised beyond that, there's always something to build on. So know that. Take care of yourself, right? Because this work is exhausting, physically, mentally, emotionally. So go on your hikes, do your meditation, listen to that good music, get a Great Dane puppy like I did, and go to dog parks, like whatever it is that makes you feel weightless, whatever makes you feel lighter because you're carrying so much heavy work. Do that, but don't give up on the fight, because there's enough victories to sustain us if we fight. Because when we fight, we win. And the second we give up, you know, that's when decades of work gets rolled back. That's when a lifetime of work gets rolled back. And that's when generations pay those costs. And it's generations of Black, brown, poor, indigenous folks, people who have been touched by the system before, that are going to pay those costs disproportionately. And we can't afford that, especially not in a state that calls itself the most progressive state in the country, right? In California, as California goes, the rest of the country goes, is what we like to say, which means if California goes backwards, the rest of the country going way backwards. So we've got to hold the line and we've got to step up. So just take care of yourself and stay motivated. And I will do my part in the state, as a state legislator, to always find those pockets of hope, to keep spirits high. We're going to push legislation through. We're going to get it signed, and then we're going to push some more through.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much. And, you know, we say often, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. So thank you for that reminder to make sure that we're also taking care of ourselves. Like, organizers can burn out easily. But I hope that you also are taking care of yourself. Get some rest during this fall recess. Yeah, because, you know, I know when I used to work for Mark, I was like, does this person even sleep? Like, it's just like nonstop, like traveling back and forth to Sacramento. You're, you know, in meetings all day, events all evening and weekend. So I hope that you also do rest, because we need you up there. And I'm going to ask you one more question, and then I'll give you a little bit of space to share anything else you want with us, and then we'll move to Q&A from the audience. But, you know, we don't want you to be the only impacted person up there. We would love to send some other system impacted folks to be your colleagues up there in Sacramento. So what advice would you have for someone who's impacted by the incarceration system to run for office like you did?
Yeah, really learn the game. And what I mean by the game is the ugly stuff, like just the basic politics. Who's got power right now? Who's likely to move here, move there, so that you know when you're disrupting that. So know it so that you know when you're jumping in, and who's likely to line up where against you, for you, so you can build your political coalition. But keep your base strong. The people who believe in you, the people that know the value you bring to the work, the people that have celebrated with you and cried with you and celebrated again, make sure that they're tight, and talk to them early and strong about where you think you can make the most impact. Don't make this decision by yourself. You know, keep it tucked from people you don't trust, but let people that you know that can help you know it's something you're planning. Call me. Seriously, because when I was running, I didn't have that person. To a degree, it was Supervisor Holly Mitchell, but it wasn't, you know, even then it's like, well, I trust you, but do I? Because you never know. But we really won. And so I can tell you everything I did, and I got no problem telling you that. And I can also help you think through whether it's the right time or not. A lot of people don't know that I actually was looking at this seat 3 years before I ran for it, when Sebastian Ridley Thomas went down. But I saw the landscape and I stepped back and said, you know what? I won't win if I go now. And when you take that L, it's even harder to win the next time. So you got to choose your moment in politics at the right time. You know what? This is the right seat, the right time, boom. But part of figuring that out is talking to your family and your base. But you can do it. Everyone who's been touched by the system should be in a position of influence, whether it's in community work, whether it's in the university, whether it's in the neighborhood, whether it's at your day job, whatever it is, whether it's elected office. We need people who have been touched by systems of harm, because we're the only people who know how to dismantle them. We're the only people who know the kind of harm that really radiates from these systems. We know that they aren't what's keeping us safe. They're breaking us down. They're killing us in many instances. So don't get discouraged. Find your place and trust your support base. But I really am truly grateful to be in office now, because there's no more secrets. It's not a mystery. And so anyone looking to run, I'm always happy to talk through kind of what it means and kind of what you need, or what I think you need, or what I needed to be successful.
No, thank you so much. You know, what they say about good leaders is that they build new leaders. They build more leaders. So thank you for your leadership there and that encouragement. And I'm sure that there are like plenty of lessons that you've learned and things that you're continuing to learn. But you're so right. You know, folks impacted by these systems are often seen like the problem, but we're the solutions, because we're the only ones who truly understand. And often our voices are not heard. So thank you for saying that and sharing your experiences with us. So before I open it up to the audience Q&A, I wanted to know if there was anything else that you wanted to close out with and share with us, anything you feel you didn't get the chance to say.
Whenever we're looking through a bill, I try to read the whole bill. If I can't read the whole bill, because there's hundreds of them, thousands some years, I start with the bill analysis, which breaks it down. And then it goes to the support opposition at the back. And when I see initiate justice in support or opposition, like, it matters to me. And I'm not the only one in the legislature who sees it and goes, wait, initiate justice ain't for this, something's wrong. Give me the whole bill. I got to read it. Something's wrong in here. Or if initiate justice is thrown down, then all right, lift the mic up. We got to talk on this one and whip some votes up, because this matters. So know that the work that you do is validated in Sacramento. You have put in that effort. And I see it and I respect it, and I want to uplift it every chance I can.
Honestly, thank you. Now I'm gonna ugly cry like Greg was about to earlier. No, but that's so meaningful. And you know, a lot of folks in this meeting right now are graduates of our training program called the Institute of Impacted Leaders. And you know, we talk about how a bill becomes a law, and you know, the legislative process. We go through LegInfo and how to read bill analysis, and we talk a lot about how important it is, you know, to be listed as an organization in support or in opposition. So thank you for reiterating that. See, y'all, when we teach you that, we're not lying. It's true. So yeah, just thank you for that wisdom. I see that a couple of folks have their hands raised, and we do have some questions in the chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first hand that I seen, which is Sandra. And if y'all can like unmute yourself, introduce yourself if you want to say, you know, where you're zooming in from, and then go ahead and ask your questions. So go ahead.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sandra Suarez, and I am calling in from Montclair, California. And sorry, I have my 2-year-old. She decides to talk now. So I just want to thank you and commend you, because I've been following you, though I'm a constituent of Assemblymember Rodriguez. But what I want to say is I am currently impacted. My husband was given a 37-year sentence. His primary is only 9 years. Everything else is on enhancements. But what I want to say and offer is, if ever you need, you don't know me, but if ever you need someone to speak about families being impacted and how my husband has used the rehabilitation part of CDCR, I would love an opportunity. Every chance I get, I talk about him because I'm proud of him. He's done 13 years out of a 37-year sentence. And I also, you know, really want to thank you for thinking about the retroactive part. Due to 20 plus years and a second strike, he's a nonviolent offender. And so to me, any chance I have an opportunity to speak about him, his name is Jesse Suarez, and he's in Lancaster prison. And because of Initiate Justice, I'm very grateful. I did graduate from, and I have to say it because I'm proud. I did graduate from their Institute of Impacted Leaders. And I just want to say, without you even knowing, I was one of your biggest supporter. We started our own little page, but Initiate Justice has helped me to brush up and to teach people about different bills. And so I just want to let you know that our page is called Jesse's Place, but I've been supporting you. I saw you get sworn in, and you don't know me, but I just want to say I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of your work, and I commend you. And please don't forget that if ever you need someone to talk in Sacramento to every single one, representative, assembly member, senator, I have no problem telling my husband's story because of all the fear mongering that they put on people, that they're letting all these violent criminals out. But I'm here to tell you that people change. My husband's changed, and he needs an opportunity. The judge has denied him 3 times our resentencing, but the transcripts say she believes he's a changed man. And so that's why I want to, thank Taina for giving me the opportunity to speak, and thank you for listening to me. And once again, I'm very proud of you, and I'm grateful that you are for us, the incarcerated, impacted family. So thank you, and thank you, Taina.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm thinking about either running a bill next year to establish an Alternatives to Incarceration Commission for the state, or starting a select committee on alternatives to incarceration. So I think there will be opportunities for you and a lot of you to help give voice to people who don't often get to give voice in Sacramento. So I'm looking out, and thank you for sharing your story, Sandra.
Yeah, and please don't forget my name either, Sandra Suarez. Thank you.
Nobody's gonna forget you, Sandra or Jesse. You always represent. Thank you. The next hand that I saw was Mateo, so I'm gonna pass it to you, Mateo.
Off. Hey, Isaac, I know him. So I met him when he worked for the mayor at the original Re-Rise. And I was like, he worked for the mayor? And I was just like, oh.
You're like, why does he get to come to the BLM meetings if he works for the mayor?
Yeah, but you got out of that really quickly. I'm so proud of you. I mean, I'm gonna cry. I'm just to be in this fight with you and to see how we have grown and where we're going. I'm just so proud of you. I mean, whoo. I'm just so proud. I want to tell you, I mean, and I'm also a graduate of the outside organizers this spring. So yes, brother. I wanted to ask you about, I just forgot my question, but I put it in the chat. Here we go. Do you have any formerly incarcerated people in your office? Are you willing to do that? I think it's important to have them in the room. I know that some others, assembly people and senators do that. I just think that's really important, like you said, because they are the experts and they have that lived experience. And I also wanted to say, I have an idea about creating because we have this budget surplus they're throwing out money everywhere, right? You get $1 billion, you whatever. About creating a group of community organizations that are invested in the formerly incarcerated getting out, like IJ, and creating a commission that works alongside the parole board and has equal authority so that they can speed up these elderly paroles. I have 2 brothers in prison, one 26 years, one 25 years. And he's coming up for parole in March. And so definitely strategizing about that. But when the new elderly parole law was passed, all these people became eligible. And so I don't get the sense that they're doing us any favors. I don't think they're trying to move the system along.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to take away from anybody else, but I'll just leave it at that. What did you think of Congratulations, brother. When
Thank
we
you.
fight, we do win.
So looking for all legislative ideas to think about how we bring more folks home, period. Still hiring for my office. I have some folks with loved ones who are incarcerated, nobody who's formally incarcerated directly, but still hiring. Also wanting to set up a formerly incarcerated like advisory council of folks who live in the 54th. So that when I'm thinking through bill ideas, like kind of how I'm telling y'all tonight, we can talk through them together and share ideas and build that support. So any Initiate Justice members who live in the 54th Assembly District, definitely give me a roster so we can build out our council together. Mateo, it is good to see you, man. I remember all the police commission meetings, all them times out there with Adam and everybody else, and just working and yelling and screaming and $1 million hoods.
That's right.
Pushing, and it's kind of crazy to be here now.
Yeah, and I worked on the alternatives to incarceration work group, so keep that in mind.
Yeah, we've got to keep pushing.
All right, brother.
Just getting started.
All right.
Yeah, so
Appreciate you.
Y'all heard that if you were in the 54th Assembly District, if you're formerly incarcerated, maybe just email us, maybe email me or Antoinette or Daisy, and we'll get y'all connected. But I'd love that idea. Thank you for that invitation. The next person who I saw with their hand up was none other than Mr. J. So I'm gonna pass it to you, Jay.
What's up, Jay?
Yo, first of all, I just want to say I'm at the fanboy out for a second, man. I be too real, man, bro. I've been, following you on Instagram and Twitter, like stalking you, kind of tagging you and everything, bro. Your floor speeches are so amazing, and it's just, to see a real one, see one of us represented. It's just so amazing, man. To see yourself personified and someone who's really out there putting themselves on the line to sacrifice for the formerly incarcerated, for the people from the hood. Me personally, I'm from Compton, California. Unfortunately, though, I live in Vince Fong's district, but we're gonna try to get him out the way pretty soon when that time comes. But I just want to first give you your flowers, brother, and say I appreciate you. I appreciate you sacrificing yourself, going against the establishment, pushing the progressive line, because that's what we need as abolitionists. That's what we need for better, safer communities. And so I really appreciate you on that. And I want you to know that you have support. A lot of times we're quick to complain, but we're very slow to give congratulations where they're due. So I want to say congratulations. Thank you, brother. And then also my question was, so based on your floor speeches and how you're able to move anyone who's coming from the middle of the ground standpoint, basically coming in the conversation with an open mind. I remember one you gave about, not everyone doesn't come from a cookie cutter when you were speaking about disabled people being discriminated against, right? So when you draw on those, like those speeches, those talks of passion, I assume that they come from, your background that you share with us. And I wanted to know, how important do you think life experience is to leadership, as far as, some people have gone, straight from college or graduate school directly into politics and dictate our daily life, who don't really have a life experience from my perspective, versus someone like yourself who's been on the ground, who doesn't come from that cookie cutter mode, who had to grind it out, who had to have family members who, slip and fall. Like me personally, I have two brothers who's currently incarcerated still. I'm formerly incarcerated. And I too, thank God, I'm a graduate of the Institute of Impacted Leaders. And so, that was my question for you, but I wanted to say thank you. I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. And I see the shout outs, and it means a lot to me because, first of all, it's lonely as hell in Sacramento. Everybody, I have some colleagues who love it up there. They like the hors d'oeuvres and the yes, sir, yes, ma'am. I'm leaving behind like my family that I love to go up there. So I'm about that work. We here to work. And with the floor speeches, I share them hoping they reach other legislators in other places. There was only one time I spoke on the floor all year that didn't move the bill. I mean, I'm not saying I moved it over the line, but I never spoke on something that didn't pass out the House, except for the sunset bill at the very end of session. It was the very last bill. And I about broke something. But we were missing 2 votes from members who were either out for a medical emergency or a family emergency. So that bill should have made it through. It'll be back in January. Hopefully we can push it then. So my hope is that those kind of speeches touch people that aren't thinking about this issue from an honest or nuanced place, and that are trying to drive with fear instead of hope and opportunity. Lived experience definitely is where those come from. And I think it's the same place Sandra comes from when she talks, right? And it's the same place a lot of us come from, right there in the chest. I will say the most effective that I've found is when you combine lived and learned together, right? So do your homework. So you will almost always hear me shout out a number or 2 in any time I'm talking about something, because I can feel it in my soul, but you also want to establish that credibility that you've really done the homework on this issue. And I think when you hit them with both, people don't know how to react to that, especially if they only coming back to you with one of them, right? So doing the homework and having enough lived experience to speak on it, and only speaking on the things that you really know something about, right? Or can speak from that place. Like I said, 300 bills went through my first week. I promise you I didn't get up 300 times, right? Hundreds more came later. You know, the ones that really, I had something to say, I had something to say. And I think that's true for all of you too. So never be afraid to have something to say.
I think I'm gonna write that down, lived and learned, because in the Institute, we talk about the importance of like having technical expertise and sharing your personal experiences, but that is so much more like succinct and cute. So I will, you know, give you your credit, but I'm definitely going to borrow lived and learned. Next with their hand up, I saw Mr. Christopher Washington.
Good evening, Assemblymember Bryan. My name is Christopher Washington, and I want to commend you for all of the work that you're doing. I actually, on the other side, serve as a delegate on 731. So when all that stuff happened with sunsets, we were screaming at the TV and we was mad too. But my question to you is just a simple question. What does abolition look like to you?
Abolition to me looks like the dismantling of systems of harm and subjugation, but also the building up of systems of care, well-being, and opportunity. Abolition to me means a radical reimagining of the way like our civic institutions serve our communities, and the ones that were not designed to serve our communities, or certainly not all of our communities, don't belong in my freedom dream.
That is a beautiful definition. And I often like something that our team just does, there's no intention, but like usually when we get legislators on here, we ask them about abolition, and that's by far the best definition we've got. So thank you. I'm gonna pass it to Crispy.
Hi, thank you so much, Assemblymember Bryan, and congratulations on all your successes and everything that you're doing. You know, a couple things. So I've been following the legislature a lot this year, and like taking lots of notes and learning, and also attending the Penal Code Revision Committee meetings and commenting there and stuff. And so one thing that came out of Penal Code Revision Committee, you know, along the lines of what you're talking about with parole, you know, to get the DAs out of the parole, like there was some really good information I learned there, that when they compared against other states, there is 4 states in the United States that don't even have a parole board. Like Minnesota got rid of it in 1982. Like, wouldn't it be nice if we didn't have the parole board? You know, if we could just imagine something different, because there, you know, the rate of people getting out due to the parole board is only 16%, which is just inhumane, ridiculous. If this was the corporate world, heads would be rolling, like people would be fired. You know, so, you know, it would be great if we could not only not have the DAs there, but just, you know, reimagine. And I'd be happy to help you reimagine that. The other thing that I wanted to bring up is one of my great joys, and there are so many joys I get from this particular organization, Initiate Justice, is phenomenal and 5 years old. is I work with the inside organizers. I help train them. And one of my inside organizers is, you know, I'm working with him. He's interested in proposing a bill that, you know, and I wanted to bring this up because it's also really important to me, the families that are impacted. So many people here that I love, they are so impacted on the outside as well as on the inside. And so we're putting together, you know, an idea about a bill called the Best Interest of the Child Act, which addresses, you know, the children of incarcerated people who are not able to see their grandparents because they're being shut out from the side of the family of the incarcerated people, and you know, grandparents and beyond. And so, you know, when we talk about the harm that's being done, it's not only, you know, it goes so much greater. It's not just the 100,000 people who are currently incarcerated. It's like their entire communities and their families and everything like that. And if we can, you know, address that, that would be great too. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I'd love to talk through all of those ideas and flesh them out some more. The 4 states that don't have parole boards, when they dismantled them or abolished them, or did they never have them? I think knowing kind of the context of what they created, whether they're doing a newer model successfully, is also helpful in us just trying to prove that. But if we're abolishing parole boards, why don't we just do the whole prison too, right?
Yes.
Let's just go all the, no, but I take the point. Very like reforming parole is interesting when you think about, well, does it even deserve a function? And Mateo mentioned setting up an alternative with equal power. Well, should an alternative just supplant it? These are things to think about, and I definitely want to continue to flesh those out with you in the policy team and think through what kind of change we can move, that we can build on. That's not a reformist reform that we're going to have to change again later, but something that really takes away something that's harmful and gives us an opportunity to build something that's helpful.
Well, we are just about at time, but speaking of our policy team, we do have 2 more hands up, and that's our policy team. Greg, who's our policy manager, and Sarah. So Greg, I'll pass it to you, and then we'll hear from Sarah, and then we can wrap up.
Yes, thank you so much, Taina, and Assemblymember. It's great to meet you. Thank you for being here this evening. One of the big things we break into, a big wall that we break into in Sacramento is around retroactivity. And a lot of your colleagues either don't care about it or they're worried about the political ramifications of supporting retroactive legislation. So in your, you know, since you've been up there, man, I'm sure maybe you've experienced this, but any tips you have for how we could work around that, how we can support you getting around that. But that's been a really, you know, consistent theme for us and something we're going to have to break through if we're going to, you know, end mass incarceration. So just wanted your thoughts quickly around retroactivity and what we can do to, you know, keep pushing through that.
If I'm going to be honest, I don't have an answer yet because it blows my mind that this is a problem. The first bill I was asked to floor jockey, so a senator in the other house asked me to be the one to introduce it on the assembly side, was Ben Allen's bill this year to retroactively apply sentence or get rid of sentence enhancements. And, you know, I'm preparing to present it, and I'm like, this should be no problem. The law has literally changed. It's illegal to keep people in on enhancements. There are people who are still inside on enhancements because they were sentenced before 2017, and that's wrong. Everyone has to agree that's wrong. I get up, I present it, it gets to 38 votes. I'm like, what? Did I mess something up? Did y'all not hear me clearly? Like, this is outrageously injustice. I ended up, you know, running around the floor whipping votes to get it to that 41, and we did get it to 41 and got it off. But it just blew my mind that, you know, it wasn't even like anyone got up and spoke against it. They just had no courage to go up in support. And it's something we've got to figure out what the most compelling argument is to get to folks, because I don't think it's always the moral one. The cost one sometimes hits, unfortunately, that we have to deduce it to how much it's costing the state. That's always a little bit more effective, but I think that's something I'd love to work on with you to figure out, because I'm definitely not a fan of all of these incredible pieces of legislation that we're pushing that would be that much better if they applied to everybody.
Right, exactly. I'm gonna pass it to you, Sarah, before we wrap up.
First, I just want to thank you, Greg, for that question, and thank you, Assemblymember, for being here and for answering that question. I think it is definitely something that nearly everyone in this space is grappling with. And it's so interesting that you mention how it's often not the moral argument, because it is true. When retroactivity in 1509, our gun enhancement bill, was challenged, the main argument was that the majority of people were given plea deals. And so if we were to go back and adjust the plea deal, then that would be kind of a compromising justice, even though in that there was an acknowledgement that the plea deals themselves were unjust. So yes, very interested in brainstorming those options with you. And that kind of leads to my question, which is, it's oftentimes the rhetoric of common sense changes that helps a lot of our legislation get through. Yet we're an abolitionist organization, and we do a lot of work to help change our own hearts and minds and others' hearts and minds to get to a place where we can talk about abolition and dismantling the system in a healthy and productive way. So my question is to you is, given that it is often the rhetoric around common sense changes and kind of moderate changes that make it through the legislature, how important is it for organizations like us to be doing abolitionist work explicitly? Do you think it's helpful at all?
Hell yes. But first, I'm going to touch the plea deal thing that you mentioned, just because I had a colleague, Tom Lakey, who said, on one bill that people were taking plea deals and those plea deals are actually lesser than what they actually did. And I said, you don't understand how plea deals work, apparently, or the leverage that DAs hold, or the fact that 97% of cases go to plea deals because the courts would shut down if they actually had to prove beyond a reasonable doubt the guilt of everyone that gets swept up by the criminal legal system. But it blew my mind the way that plea deal, it was like, they got a lesser, they were done a favor because they got a plea deal. I was like, that's crazy. But it's important to have organizations that hold the line, like all the way the line. My mentor and auntie and best friend and therapist who texted me while we were even here is Dr. Kelly Lada Hernandez, who's been an abolitionist since before it was cool and wrote the book on mass incarceration in Los Angeles. And she taught me a lot about holding the line. And in the space I occupy now, it's about figuring out, how do I hold the line and come up with the kind of legislative and creative rhetoric that brings folks in without sacrificing the line. And the thing that's helpful to me is the base, like Initiate Justice, that just holds the line unapologetically. I had this conversation with Dr. Melina Abdullah, another one of my aunties and big sisters, during the Measure J conversation, when she said, Isaac, just say defund the police. Well, I'm not afraid to say defund the police, but I'm trying to pass this ballot measure. So how about I say divest from systems of harm and invest in systems of care, and police are harm. And you know what I mean? It was like, well, we saying the same thing. All right, so that's cool. and that's kind of what policymakers have to navigate. But the only way to get to navigate that in an authentic place is to have people like Dr. Abdullah, have people like Initiate Justice, have people like Kelly, who can hold the line unapologetically because they don't have to convince their colleagues on the floor. And then recognize when someone is holding the line, even if they don't use the slogan of the day as they're holding it. I think that's something we've got to do too. I haven't run into any problems with that, but I think it's something as organizers, we have to be able to recognize when, oh, they saying exactly what I said. They just said it in elected official talk, which is different than elected officials who don't say anything, but just talk for a minute, right? We're used to that. And so, that's part of the training that I'd like to bring back home too, after I'm up here for long enough. If we're successful in moving legislation, kind of sharing those stories about how we took something that was radical and transformative and packaged it in a way that was still radical and transformative, but made it off the floor. And y'all have a long track record of doing that, so you actually don't need me to show you how to do that. It's kind of something I want to show myself, having just got there. How do we take some of these things that haven't moved and move them? When I did that vote, or didn't vote to do the pay raises for CDCR, I had kind of mixed feelings because I knew it was going to pass anyway, right? Because Republicans going to go up and all the Democrats going to go up, and I'm just going to walk away, and I couldn't stop it. I couldn't change the outcome. And it hasn't sat right with me since. Like, I'm very proud that I took that stand. My partner, Mara, let me come home, so that was nice. But how do we get to a place where taking a stand can actually move the needle on the important things? And that's something I want to continue to build with you all. But thank you again for all the work that you do. And I'm glad the policy team ended out the questions, because I'm looking forward to building with you all very deeply.
No, absolutely. And thank you for that encouragement for us to hold the line. You know, we'll hold the line together. We'll hold it on our end, and we'll continue to count on you to hold it on your end. You know, it didn't change the outcome for that vote, but you like abstaining on that, like, was very, it's powerful. It says something. And I know that that means something to everybody here who's formerly incarcerated or who has a loved one inside and who has had to deal with these awful CDC officers. And, you know, I'll speak for myself and say, like, I'm grateful that at least one person didn't vote for them to get a pay raise. So thank you. We're going to wrap up, but before we do, I want to, you know, send it back to you, Assemblymember Bryan, if you have any closing remarks for us.
Just thank you all for letting me share space with you tonight, and for all the work that you do. In the same way Jay said that, you know, he sees me, I see all of you. And I'm not kidding. When I'm looking through bills and they're touching the criminal legal system, I'm looking for initiate justice. So keep building up the workload, keep pushing, and let me know anytime I can be helpful.
Of course, the feeling is mutual. Can y'all, if you're committed to holding the line, can you know, like, can I see your thumbs up or a raised hand or, you know, something like that in the reactions? Yes, let's see the hearts, let's see the love. Yes, fist up. You know, we're here. We know that this system wasn't created overnight, and we're not going to be able to dismantle it overnight, but it's going to take years of hard work and dedication from people in the community, from system impacted folks, and from courageous leaders like you. So thank you so much, Assemblymember Bryan, for being with us tonight.
Can I say one more thing that I just realized? My legislative director is actually in the room, and I didn't recognize until right now, and it's Autumn McCreary. Her name is the same as my name. And so for the policy team, Greg, Autumn is the person in my office who's going to be reaching out, if she hasn't already, to make sure that we talk through where we can be supportive in next year's bill package.
Thank you. Welcome, Autumn. Thank you for being here with us. And again, just thank you so much, Assemblymember. Can y'all give him some round of applause, some claps, something? Yeah, just thank you for your time. Thank you for all of the work that you do. And I know that we will continue to be in touch with your office. Thank you so very much.
All right. Y'all take care.
Good night. And I don't know who I'm passing it back to, Antoinette or Daisy. One of y'all, please take it away.
Thank you. No problem, Taina. Let me just get my screen right here. Okay, sorry about that. Thank you, Taina. And wow, like that's I think that's kind of all my response is just wow, how powerful that absolutely was. And I know that it was inspiring and that it touched and resonated with so many of us because of the chat. So just grateful to have had him and grateful for those questions. I think they were so important and gave way to such great knowledge and such great insight that he ended up sharing in response to those questions. So thank you to all of our outside organizers and staff who asked those particular questions. And so we are at the end of our member meeting. And so while we have time, I want to recognize our member of the month. So along with having like our champions in the legislature, like Isaac Bryan and Mark Stone and Alex Lee, we also have our like champions within our Initiate Justice community, our members who are always present, who are always contributing, and who are extremely significant to some aspect or some area of our work, or sometimes all aspects and committees of our work. And so this evening, we want to recognize someone who's been instrumental in assisting and supporting our inside membership committee, extremely active, always strategizing and aiding with power building and contributing ideas to that. And then also even helping facilitate and host our data entry nights, which is so important to our work because we know that our inside members are who we do this work for, right? Our inside members and their families, us, of course, families and loved ones. And so that's extremely pivotal. And then also has assisted our inside organizing committee, which trains our leaders inside who organize those people, those individuals behind bars. And so that's extremely powerful, right? To not only assist in adding new members, not only assist in how we can power build and grow our membership base, but then also helping train our inside organizing, our leaders on the inside, and has graded thus far 19 inside organizer curriculums. So assisting with 19 new inside organizers. And then not only has this person contributed that much, but has done so while being an active graduate student. So we want to recognize Jessica Hattrick, who has entered over 1,000 names, graded 19 IO curriculums, and again, has done this while being a grad student. So Jessica, if you are here, if you are still with us, just thank you for all that you do, all that you contribute. We sincerely appreciate you. Yeah, just thank you. And if you want to unmute or share, please feel free to do so. Speech, Greg's calling speech.
I know I feel cliche, this feels very unexpected. Just always really, really grateful for the work you'll do and constantly inspired by it. And I know IJ makes me care about policy, which I didn't think was possible. So that's happening. And I'm just looking forward to continuing to build abolitionist futures with you all.
Yes, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And there's so much love for you in the chat as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So again, for all of those who are new joining us tonight, we do always recognize our all-star supporters, allies, members, organizers who are assisting us in doing this work. And yes, I love that too. IJ makes her care about policy. So that's amazing, right? Touching hearts and touching people in places that you didn't think was possible, and making you have an interest in, like she said, care about policy. So that's absolutely amazing. And it means we're doing something right? It means we're definitely doing something right. So thank you, Jessica. We appreciate you, and we will definitely be in touch with you. So outside of our member of the month, if you are a new member with us, meaning you are joining this member meeting for the first time, we ask that you please stay on for a couple minutes after this, because we are going to have a new member orientation for you. But outside of that, just want to remind people that we do this every month. Every first Wednesday of the month, we have our member meeting. Our next one is going to be on Wednesday, November 3rd at the same time, at 6:30 p.m. Remember, you do have to register in advance, but that link is always the same every single month. And you can do that at tinyurl.com/IJ monthly2021. So use that link every single month to register via Zoom for our next monthly member meeting. Don't forget to join us for our November meeting. But then also, I seen it come through the chat, and since we had so many outside organizers ask Isaac Bryan questions, people are wondering, what's an outside organizer? How do I do it? So that's going through our Institute of Impacted Leaders program, which is a 12-week training program. If you are interested, I just put a link in the chat. You can quote unquote request a cohort, but we launch cohorts based upon where the interest is, where people are asking for us to host this program. So if you are interested, it is so critical that you go to that link, fill it out, let us know where you are and that you are interested in joining our Institute of Impacted Leaders program, becoming an outside organizer, being engaged and being thoroughly taught how to advocate and be civically engaged with the policy process in the state of California. But thank you everyone for joining us. I had such an amazing time tonight. I hope everyone else did as well. I'm refueled, I'm inspired, and I hope you are all leaving feeling the same. Thank you. And thank you, Taina, for just facilitating such an amazing Q&A so gracefully. As always, we appreciate you.
So grateful for the work that y'all did. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night. Good night. Don't forget to let your loved ones know that our bill passed, right? AB 292 passed. Don't forget to let people know. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.